In the past 24 days, I created 69 different thumbnails for my business videos. In this video, I'm going to show you the software I use to make those thumbnails. I'll give you my 3 rules for great thumbnails, and at the end, I'm going to give you my best cheat code to make your thumbnails exceptionally fast. In fact, my thumbnails usually take less than 10 minutes to make, and I usually have about 3 thumbnails in less than 20. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Parker. I spent the last 15 years being an engineer and running IT companies. Now I help creators make their own money because I don't believe the algorithms are paying them fairly. If you're a creator and interested in that, I have a newsletter called Creator Income that you can join for free, and you can read all of my amazing emails on how to get that happening. But you're here for YouTube, for thumbnails. Let's start with the start, which is the software that I'm using to make all of those glorious thumbnails, and this software is Figma. Why am I using Figma? Why not Photoshop? Why not Canva? Why not any other software? Because Figma allows me to do some of the more complicated things I want to do, like use layers as overlays, add vector graphics and add masks and all kinds of jazzy things like that, which Canva cannot do while being actually fast and usable, unlike Photoshop is. You can use Canva, Photoshop, Figma, or whatever app you prefer because it doesn't matter that much. I used all of them and made thumbnails with all of them. Use whatever you find convenient, but there will be some stuff that is applicable only to Figma here. Before we get to the main points, let's go over something important. Organize your work. If you look at my Figma file, you'll see that even though I didn't name every layer perfectly, I organized things in a pretty neat way. First, we have a big column in the middle which has all of the thumbnails. This column is split in 3 because I want to have one thumbnail for every video. A practice you can see started at a certain point, and then I did every single video with 3 thumbnails each. I also have a testing area. It is important to have a place in which you can slap a thumbnail and see how that thing looks on YouTube, because if you don't have that, it is very easy to create something that looks very cool on your big fancy screen but looks terrible on a mobile phone when it's tiny teeny and no one can read the text. And finally, I have this section here for reusable assets. I have a few of them because I don't pre-make them, I just make them when I need one. And for those 69 thumbnails, I happen to need 4 of them. So I saved all 4 in a very customizable fashion using all kinds of goodies that Figma can offer, so I can very easily duplicate and customize them. And there's also one hanging screenshot here, which is for a thumbnail for a video that I haven't made yet. So this is like a big ass to do here, just waiting for me. But no matter how you organize your thumbnails, it doesn't matter unless you can make a thumbnail that can get people to click the thumbnail. So how do you do that? Fortunately for you, I'm not a good designer, so I'm not going to give you a very complicated design explanation on what you need to do. I'll give you a business explanation of what you are aiming for in a thumbnail and what you should be doing for your thumbnail to generate the most capable customers and not just anyone to click on it. We're not looking to be Mr. Beast here, we're looking to make sales. So if we look at the thumbnails that I have, you'll notice that they're actually quite simple. They feature my face in some way or form, and they also have a simple design or a few lines of short text. Because the title and thumbnail in every single video I make are designed to answer a very simple question. And that question is, what's in it for me? Why should the reader spend their time and energy even moving their cursor and clicking on the thumbnail? That's very, very important. I need to earn the click in some way or form, so I need to give people a promise of what they're going to receive in the video. If that promise sucks, the thumbnail design doesn't matter, because even the prettiest thumbnails will get no clicks if no one cares, and even the worst thumbnail is going to get some clicks if people really want this problem solved. In fact, some of my best performing videos have no thumbnails because I just recorded them off the cuff to solve a problem for a client that I was too lazy to write down in explanation, and those videos actually exploded and get me tens and tens of views every single day, and they usually tend to do this for years. So when you're making your thumbnails, focus on the viewer. What do people want? If people are looking for a video to grow their email list, they want more subscribers. So I'm showing them more subscribers. And that neatly leads us to the second point. I want to show people what's in it for them instead of saying it with a bunch of words. Because words are cool, but words require more effort than a picture, and also words are less interesting than a picture. So I will use words, and I'm not against that, but if I have a way to visualize the idea better, I'll do that. And if I don't have a way to visualize the idea, I'll find the best combination of words that explains the idea visually with the least amount of characters possible. I'll show you some examples. In this one, I wanted to show newsletter growth. So I used the word subscribers. Everyone who has a newsletter knows the word subscribers. And by the way, every creator should have a newsletter. And then I used green font indicating growth and a chart in the background indicating growth as well. I'm showing growth in several places because I want people to just feel, hey, this is about growth. They don't need to read the text, they get it. It's about growth, and they just read the title, which says something like grow your newsletter or something like this. This one uses the same approach of showing people, but in a very different way. Because here on this image, there is no visuals, there is no picture of anything but myself, there is only text. But this text is still showing and not telling people what to do. Because this video is about the biggest mistake people make on social media. And a big part of this problem is that people only think about consistency and only think about staying consistent. So I'm showing them the mistake, I'm letting them feel the mistake by naming the one true thing that everyone believes about social media and saying that this thing is bullshit. Now, there is a lot more context to that video and I reveal the details and nuance inside of the video, but I took the most emotional aspect, I pulled it out of the video and I put it on the thumbnail. What that does is that lets people feel, I show them the emotion behind the message, and this emotion gets them to click. And finally, I'll go with the thumbnail of this video, one of the three that you might have seen. And this one is very simple. It shows people thumbnails because the background is thumbnails, which I understand won't be super visible on a small screen, but it doesn't matter. It adds some visual interest to the background, which is good enough. And then instead of telling them make thumbnails faster, I'm showing them the result of having good thumbnails, which is getting the click. It's not about having a thumbnail that is pretty, it is about having a thumbnail that is clickable and gets people to actually watch the video. Now, if you look at all of those thumbnails and any other thumbnail, you see that I strongly prefer messaging over design. This is the third and also very important point. I have one more, which is probably the best part, but I'll save that for last. Messaging over design simply means that I don't want to spend a lot of time on design. I don't want to color correct every one of my pictures perfectly. I don't want to make fancy backgrounds. I want to show people something that is interesting enough so they will click, but that requires less of my time as a business owner to actually design it. While I'm doing this by myself to learn the craft and understand what I need from YouTube and what works on YouTube and what will help my clients best on YouTube, I want to do this myself. So before we get to a point in which I'm ready to outsource this, I will do this in a way that's efficient for me because I have the business to run, I have my clients to work with, I have the awesome emails to write, which you should join from the link below, they're amazing, and I have all this other work that needs happening, so I can't spend 2-3 hours per day on a thumbnail. And I've done that, it's super fun, I enjoy it a lot, but I simply can't afford to do this now. So every one of my thumbnails focuses on the substance and not on the design. So if you look at any one of those, you'll see very simple designs. You'll see me using simple gradients a lot, like here or here or here, but you will very rarely see anything that's super fancy and super over designed. And the majority of my focus would be on the text. What kind of text do I put on the thumbnail that complements the title and gets people curious? Because that's way important than the actual design, because the design can be kind of ugly and it can still work if the thumbnail and title together present enough of an intrigue. And of course, we all know that the best way to get intrigue is to put bananas on your head. We can all agree on that, yes? Yeah, anyway, instead of calling you out again to join Creator Income at the end of this video, which you obviously should, you can see how awesome those are, I'll show you the best trick that I saved for everyone who is patient enough to spend like 5 minutes with me. So, the best part is how you can make those thumbnails significantly faster. It is a secret ancient technique, it comes from a great grandfather, and it's called stealing things. It is very effective. What I'm going to show you is that you can get a lot of different elements for your thumbnails without actually spending a lot of time and energy building them from scratch. And the best and easiest ways to do that is the Figma community page. Here you can find hundreds and hundreds of different templates you can use for different purposes. You can find the interface of Instagram, of messaging apps, of Discord, or you can find designs for other platforms like LinkedIn that you can open up and then use elements from in your own thumbnail thumbnails and in your own design. And if you end up finding somebody who creates amazing assets that you end up using time and time again, you even find your designer for when you're ready to outsource this. It's the perfect place to actually browse around and find different bits and pieces to enhance your designs without spending all of the time and energy necessary to build everything from scratch. It's like a bunch of Legos you can just take and put on your Millennium Falcon Lego and make it even better. That was everything I have to say for thumbnails. Focus on the user, focus on what they need, and the rest is just gravy. Do it long enough and you'll actually start getting thumbnails that are more and more and more clickable, and you might even get a genius idea like I did in that video in which I put bananas on my head. Anyway,